Hey, what's going on, everybody, man? My name's Riley. If this is your first time seeing my face here on YouTube, go and subscribe to my channel and leave a like on this video. Today we're going to be bringing y'all a crazy video yet again. But before we get into that, we got a little giveaway up for you guys. If y'all trying to make some free money, like something I got right here in my pocket. Details will be listed later inside the video, so you definitely don't want to miss that. And like I said, this video is kind of heartbreaking. We're going to be covering two missing mothers that were found in a rural part of Oklahoma. That means like wooded area. You know, I'm not too sure what the injuries are they were faced to or what they were put through to lead on to their passing. It's gonna be our first time watching this together, so yeah, let's just dive right in. Let's go. Alright, y'all, before we go home with this clip, make sure you're comfortable, grab something to snack on and something to sip, and let's enjoy this video together.
There was a lot of questions from the public as was there any danger to the public? And I think from the get-go, once we arrived on scene, that and we gained a little bit of information that we felt this wasn't a random deal. All right.
4 people arrested and charged in the murders of 2 moms in Oklahoma. We have gruesome details in the deaths of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly.
You have 2 people.
Gruesome details.
27 and a 39-year-old. Wow, man. That's terrible.
In the deaths of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly.
You have 2
people
to
their family and kids.
who are dead, and 4 people that committed an absolutely brutal crime.
Thanks for joining me for Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. These 2 moms from Kansas, Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly, had been missing since March 30th. Police had said they traveled from Kansas to Oklahoma to pick up Veronica's children, but never made it. When state agents found the car the women were driving, they said it showed signs that there had been foul play, but Butler and Kelly were nowhere to be found. Court documents say that blood and Butler's glasses were found in and around the vehicle.
We can say that the evidence that was discovered inside of that abandoned vehicle and around it, were able to help our investigators determine that there was foul play involved, and then led to the progression of this investigation.
The Oklahoma Bureau of Investigation announced that Tad Burt Cullum, Tiffany Adams, Cole Twombly, and Cora Twombly had each been arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder and kidnapping and conspiracy to commit murder. An affidavit filed to support the charges says that Veronica Butler was involved in a fierce custody battle for her 2 children with Tiffany Adams. Adams is the mother of the man with whom Butler shared those 2 children. Butler had asked Jillian Kelly to supervise her court-ordered visitation with her children on Saturday, March 30th. That's when they were traveling to meet the children. Court documents.
So that was the last woman, and then the woman before. That's what he. You see the difference there, right?
Related to the custody battle between Adams and Butler showed that it had been contentious since 2019, and that Adams and her boyfriend, Tad Cullum, had made death threats. And a hearing this week may have made that custody battle even more contentious because Veronica Butler was expected to win visitation rights unsupervised with her children. Questions were raised at a press conference about why law enforcement was so tight-lipped over the last 2 weeks.
This is the way that our investigators work. This is what you have to do in order to get the job done. Everybody involved in order to catch those responsible.
Now, along with death threats, the affidavit says that Tiffany Adams' phone revealed she searched for several things, including taser pain level, gun shops, prepaid cellular phones, and how to get someone out of their house. The affidavit also states that the Twombly's, Tiffany Adams, and Tad Cullum were part of a religious anti-government group called God's Misfits. The affidavit says the Twombly's 16-year-old daughter told agents that she overheard a group conversation in which the adults were discussing their feeling that Butler was not protecting her children from her brother regarding an abuse allegation involving sexual assault. The Twombly's daughter is also quoted as telling investigators that the group tried to kill Butler in February, but that was unsuccessful. Cora Twombly is accused of telling her daughter they had planned to throw an anvil through Butler's windshield to make it look like an accident, but she never came out of her house. And we'll have more details from that affidavit coming up here in just a bit. I want to bring in Joe Giacalone to discuss this case. He's the host of the YouTube channel True Crime with the Sarge, also a retired cold case sergeant from the NYPD. Joe, there is some wild, wild stuff in this affidavit. We have a group of people, these 4 people, accused of concocting a conspiracy to kill these 2 women because they were concerned, allegedly, about Veronica Butler not protecting her children from her brother regarding a sexual abuse allegation. So we've got talk about these people being involved in some type of anti-government, religious anti-government organization. There is a lot going on with this case.
I'm anti-government too.
Yeah, certainly. There's a lot to unpack. Even from the very beginning, when you saw what transpired in regards to this incident where this car basically gets either forced off the road or something happens to them and they end up on this dirt road, so to speak. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about here, and moving forward, this is going to be a pretty big topic, in regards to some of these anti-government movements, sovereign citizens, you name it, whatever you want to call them. They're not. It's not something new. They've been around for a long time. But I think this case is going to put them on the map in certain locations, and law enforcement is going to be taking a very close look.
It sounded like law enforcement received quite a bit of information from the get-go, from family member and friends. They said that during the press conference. There is a custody dispute between Veronica Butler and Tiffany Adams that goes back to 2019. And there apparently there's a trove of court documents supporting all of this and all of the allegations, and that Tiffany Adams was making death threats to Veronica Butler, and she wanted to keep those children, it sounds like. So we've heard about these custody disputes becoming really contentious and sadly ending like this in the past.
Sure. I mean, if you want to take a look at a case that's very similar to this, the Piketon Massacre, right? I mean, very similar to
Pike
this.
County.
Yeah, very similar to this. And you also see how I'm sure they didn't really say it, but the internet records and the cell phone records, the text messages, all those kind of things helped investigators. But yes,
and what they do, this is what doesn't make no sense to me. They kill off the mother, and then they go to prison for the rest of their life. Then where does the kid go? He's going to have a way worse life than when he was living in your house or just living with his mom. You know what I mean? People just don't be thinking nowadays, man.
The text messages, all those kind of things helped investigators. But yes, the tips that they got from the public, they were very open about that. Not open about anything else, but they were open about getting information from, either relatives or friends, I guess, and that had said, listen, I guess you need to take a hard look about what's going on here. And you could kind of tell that investigators were on top of this, who they thought or suspected right away, just based on their silence. I know a lot of people were upset about that, but I was trying to explain to people they don't want to spook anybody, so they're just playing this very close to the vest.
And that is something that is always very frustrating to people like me. It's my job to go out and find the news, get the news, report the news, talk about the news, analyze the news, and the public gets frustrated too. But the cops said, this is what we do. We can't just put everything out there. We can't say anything. We have to get the bad guys.
Well, it makes law enforcement's job more difficult if they give out too much information. And I know specifically from, the reporters and the journalists out there, this is really frustrating because you're trying to break a story and tell everybody about it. But there's always certain clues that you should look into it. And for instance, when you have a situation that goes on, the first thing that any reporter should ask, if it's not brought up, is the public in danger, right? Because that kind of gives you the clue about where law enforcement is headed with the investigation. And sometimes when I'm watching these pressers and the reporters do get a chance, just like today, to ask questions, I'm shouting at the TV going, ask this question, but nobody seems to, kind of get onto those. But yes, law enforcement understands something. If they put out a thing and say, well, yes, we know all about the custody battle and we want to make sure that, these people are brought to justice. Well, listen, you have a chance of destruction of evidence. Even whether it's hiding the bodies further or bringing them to another location or destroying cell phones and deleting things. Right? You keep people off guard, and that's the idea behind it. So people go, oh, we're not even suspected by this. Just play it cool. And then you have surveillance on top of that too. So it's really important that they keep certain key things from the public.
You always talk about the importance of the cell phone evidence, the electronic evidence, and we have a lot of talk about burner phones in this affidavit. They went out and bought prepaid cell phones. Those are the burner phones so that they couldn't be traced, but law enforcement eventually found those according to the affidavit. Also, they say that Tiffany Adams on her phone searches, they did an extraction. They say she searched for things like taser pain level, gun shops, prepaid cellular phones, and how to get someone out of their house. So this is another case in which cell phones, electronic data, cyber evidence is very important to cracking the case.
Yes, and this is the first place that law enforcement is heading to, right? So the cell phone thing, and listen, unfortunately, or actually fortunately, people haven't learned from the Long Island serial killer case that these burner phones are no longer, as advertised. With the new technology and the new ways that law enforcement and the access has it, and Jeanette, as soon as you see federal agencies like the FBI or sometimes even the Secret Service get involved, that's all about cell phone data, and that's all about analyzing it and downloading it and getting that information. And if you recall at the presser, I forget who the individual was, but he did thank the public sector for getting on top of these subpoenas and warrants and getting them that information really fast. So it's just an indication about how much information that they had at their fingertips almost immediately in this investigation, which led us to this point right now.
One of the things that's really disturbing in here is the fact that we have a 16-year-old child who was a witness to all of this. And it sounds like she gave a lot of information to law enforcement. She is not identified
the whole thing?
In these documents by name, but by initials. And she is the child of the Twombleys. And she said that on March 29th, the day before Veronica Butler was scheduled to visit her children, have that supervised visitation, that Cora and Cole Twombly left in a pickup truck and said they were going on, quote, a mission. And that when they came back, they said things didn't go as planned, but they instructed the 16-year-old to clean up the truck. And they said that they would not have to worry about Veronica Butler any longer. Really, really damning evidence and really disturbing to have a child, a teenage girl, a witness to all of this.
About it too.
Well, yeah, and it's also, for lack of a better adjective, dumb on their part, right? So you have somebody who's at 16 years old that doesn't understand really what's probably happening, or maybe they felt that she was indoctrinated in their beliefs so much that she would just be willing to follow orders and do things. But, there's different – at 16, you have different kinds of 16-year-olds, right? So the issue comes down to some more mature than others. Some have, gone through a lot. Some understand that. But fortunately that she has come forward, and she'll probably end up in like protective custody somewhere and eventually going, and be put in another location. And as a matter of fact, they had asked, where she was, I believe, at the presser, and they just said, well, basically in an undisclosed location right now. And they're going to have to keep her safe because she's going to be an integral part of a trial if it does take place.
Well, if it does take place is the question, and we're still very early on in this investigation. So we'll see where it unfolds and where it leads. But very sad that these two women are presumed dead. They're still in the process of making those identifications. The bodies were located on Sunday in a rural area. The police are not saying much more than that. So, Joe Jekyllin, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on as always.
Anytime, Jeanette.
And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Ann.
Well, this is a pretty wild case here, so it looks all about a custody battle. I don't know. I believe it's for a different. I don't know if it's custody battle for the 16-year-old. I think it's another set of kids, right? Because they don't share the same last. It don't share the Butler last name. I think those were the kids that were really in the custody battle. But wow, man, for someone to go out and just be so, like you said, just so open about it. Like, yeah, you don't have to worry about it no more. Go clean the shit off my truck. I don't know. It might have been blood. Might have just been scraped up. I'm not too sure. But what? Just walking around, just knowing you're put 4 people also. See, if they did that shit down here in Florida, there'd be 4 life sentences right there. There'd be 8 life sentences because there would be 2, 1 for each person they murdered. You know what I mean? But I don't know how it is in Oklahoma. If y'all do know, it's the laws, how laws are about the murder charge. Go ahead and comment down below. I'd love to know about it. And yeah, let's go ahead and roll this outro. Let's go. All right, y'all, we're going to wrap this one up. If you enjoyed this type of content, I'm going to link a place right in the video. It's gonna have all the reactions on there for y'all to check out. We dropping a video every single day, all of 2024. So go ahead and smash the bell so you don't miss out on my future content. And go check out my last video because that was a banger and you're not gonna want to miss it. We got a little giveaway up I was talking about as well. If y'all missed it in the start of the video. Once we reach 500 subscribers, we're pretty close. We're at like 360 right now, so we're not that far off. Once we reach 500 subscribers, we're gonna win a couple $50 gift cards. So if y'all trying to make some free money, go down to the bottom of this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and you're automatically entered. Easy as that. That small action right there helps the channel grow so much, and I appreciate y'all a ton for helping this channel grow. You know, being a small creator here and a new creator at the most, everything helps. So like I said, I appreciate y'all. We'll go ahead and catch y'all tomorrow. Peace.